What's up, guys? It's Eric. This is what my first week being sober was like. I am a recovering cocaine and alcoholic addict, and I've never even shared a lot. I have a lot of memories burned into my brain. I mean, there were very aha moments and life-changing moments, and I realized that I'd never shared what my first week of getting sober was, especially off of alcohol and cocaine. If you're new to my channel, hit the like and subscribe button. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a counselor. I'm none of that. My name is Eric. I'm diagnosed with ADHD, PTSD, GAD, and MDD. I have lost a wife and a father to suicide. I'm a recovering cocaine and alcoholic addict. I've struggled with self-harm. I see therapists. I take meds. I've been through a lot. And I found the more that I share my experiences, the more that it helps other people out there. And sharing my experience of what week one being sober was like it was one of those things that, you know what, we've all been there. It's New Year's, we're gonna lose a bunch of weight, or I'm gonna do this, and we are excited that first week. You are full of excitement that first week because you got this. And it's gonna be so easy because I'm doing it for me. That's how my first week of actually being sober was. But then I can also tell, week 3 for me being sober was a nightmare. And I will actually share that. But the first week of being sober, my body was detoxing. I was going through a lot. I was drinking 3 fifths of vodka a day. I was doing 1 to 2 8-balls of coke a day. So that's 3.5 grams, 4 grams roughly to almost 8 grams of cocaine a day. I mean, that's a lot to be putting up your nose. 3 fifths of vodka alone is a lot. And I had done that consecutively for a long time. So my body was going through physical withdrawals. I was having really bad night sweats. I was sweating and shaking a lot for about the first 2-3 weeks. My physical detox was a pain. The mental detox part of it was also a pain because I had never really driven sober very much. So now all of a sudden I had to relearn how to drive. I had to relearn how to handle and act with people. And so I'm going through that physical detox. I mean, whenever you get sober, at least with me, how it worked, alcohol, you retain a lot of water and stuff. So I started losing weight actually really quick. In the first week, I ended up losing about 8 pounds, but I couldn't get off the bathroom. I mean, I had the worst diarrhea in the world and stomach cramps. My appetite was all over the board. It would hit and miss at different times. I would like mass eat and then not eat. And it was very weird of like, how do I really start talking to people? I mean, a lot of anxiety and depression started creeping in, but I was just motivated. I got this. I was so proud to tell everybody I was an addict. I'm 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 an addict. Went to my first AA meeting. People start telling me about NA and I'm like, yeah, I got this. Got my first little 24-hour chip. Like I got this stuff handled. And I didn't really pick up on a lot of the warning signs like, hey, ADHD, you are hyperactive, which means we can do things very spontaneously and not think them through or not be prepared for them. I wasn't prepared for what sobriety was really going to be like for me because that first week was pure motivation. And I think a lot of us have been there where when we are fully and purely motivated, we're like, dude, we're going to conquer the world. We're going to change the world. We got this. And that's how I was, except just going through that physical detox. The problem was, and what I didn't pick up on because the second week was really hard, third week was a nightmare. But what I didn't pick up on is all of a sudden now I'm working sober. So I had to like leave to go to work. It was I live in California, so with traffic and stuff, it was about a 45-minute, almost an hour drive to work. I was leaving to work about 2 hours early because I was taking the back roads. One of those things is if you get a bad road anxiety, because I had really bad road anxiety and driving anxiety when I first started, use a GPS. That just brings comfort so you're not paranoid. Did I miss a turn? Any of that? Because I learned that I'm focusing on the cars more than I was where I was driving and I was missing exits and stuff. Use the GPS. That works tremendously well. So through that, though, I started realizing that, okay, I have to work sober. And all of a sudden, I kind of like lost that motivation. Like I'm dealing with a lot of emotions when I'm getting into work. I actually got the job when I was completely shit-faced. And now all of a sudden, I'm working a job completely sober. I was 2 different people all of a sudden. And they didn't really realize that I was like starting to detox. I was sweating really bad at work. We didn't really have much AC. It was in Pomona, California. So I'm in the office like sweating bullets, constantly peeing, drinking a lot of water because I'm trying to get my body to push through this detox. I mean, I'm shaking nonstop. And so I would hide my hands like under my desk or I'd put them in my pocket if I was talking to customers because I was a manager at the time. So people wouldn't see the shake in my hands. And my sleep schedule was really whacked. Like I had to take naps. Like naps were my saving grace because even though like I would wake up and I was like, oh man, I slept, 8 hours that night. I wasn't because I'm waking up in a pile of sweat. My pillow is soaked. There's no feeling like the feeling in the world where you're half asleep and you roll over and it's cold because it's wet and you're like, dude, what the hell? And you realize that the sheets on you are all soaked and you're peeling them off of you and you're just sweating nonstop and you feel clammy. I mean, that was my detox on that first week of how my sleep was, but my sleep, I wasn't sleeping good. And so I found myself like sneaking away, trying to take naps even at work, which wasn't the best thing to do. I was never caught doing it, but I did. I like literally was sneaking away to take naps. But the one thing that started really creeping in that first week sober, here I am all motivated of, oh my God, what about all this shit that's going to come up? Because I knew what I had done when I was actively addicted. I knew of the cheating and the horrible human being things that I did. And this shit's going to come up to the top. And I knew that. And I didn't know how to really approach it because I'm sober. And I was like, maybe I just blame it all on the fact that I was an addict. And it was like, later on, I learned, no, I really got to own that shit. I got to own that I was a bad person. And it's up to me to change. So, and you'll notice even when I talk about that, I'm a bad person, and people are like, oh, you're not a bad person. No, at that time I was. I mean, there's different, I think we go through phases in life a little bit. At that time, I was a bad person. I hurt a lot of people. I had a lot of amends to do, and I still even have some amends to do. So it was one of those that I could feel that paranoia creeping in because I was like, man, as I get sober, things are going to change, and I don't know what I have said at different periods in time and what I haven't, so I could even bust roll myself. And so I did have some of that paranoia start creeping in, but it was like, man, I am so motivated and gung-ho that, you know what, I'm 6 days sober and I'm 7 days sober. I mean, that first week sober was different because, like, I'm a changed person. Look at me now. And I've done that even too when it came to working out and all that. And we've all went through that in life in one way or another. Mine just happened to be addiction. But you even get that same kind of feeling when it's like, you know, hey, I'm going to work out, or hey, I'm going to do this now in my life and I'm going to do this. And we do it for like a week and we're super motivated. It does kind of override a lot of different things. But once we attempt to really truly set it as a routine, so much other stuff starts to set in. And I think that's a lot of times why we fail at it. And that's my personal opinion. I mean, it was thankful to AA because AA really got me through my sobriety. And again, it's not for everybody. It's finding what works for you. I happen to find a really good home group. I've been to a lot of AA meetings. Some of them I even got out of and like stood up in the middle of it and walked out because I didn't agree with it. And it's about finding and knowing who you are. But it was one hell of a journey. I mean, that first week of sobriety wasn't like anything I thought it would be, because that detox was there, but I was just so heavily motivated and I'm going to change the world now. And I'm born again. Here I come. And it was like, no, just you wait to see what getting sober is like. I mean, people told me that it's going to be one hell of a ride. I didn't believe them, and it's been one hell of a ride. It's a lot. So I know that sharing more about my sobriety, because so many people out there struggle with addiction, the more that it will help people out there, because you're not prepared for what's in store. You really aren't. Like, you know you want to get sober, but you are not prepared for what's going to happen. I mean, it's called pause. There's that post-acute withdrawal syndrome, which is the physical and the mental sides of it. I mean, there's so much going on with your body mentally and physically that it screws with you. And then also it's all the actions that we have to start owning up to. But I can tell you that, man, first week, pure motivation. I got this. So proud of myself every single day. Had my sobriety app, high-fiving myself. I got this. It got bad. But you know what? I'm still sober today, and I'm very proud of that, because a lot of my life revolves around my sobriety, and staying who I am revolves around my sobriety. And you know what? It's taking it still one day at a time. Hopefully this helps somebody out there who's just started that sobriety. Maybe you can relate. I can tell you this, be prepared for down the road. Be prepared down the road. Trust me. I will share more stories on that though, because like the third week of sobriety was a nightmare. If you haven't hit the like and subscribe button, hit that like and subscribe button. My name is Eric. I do everything I can to bridge that gap between a crisis hotline and therapy, just sharing all the tools and experiences, resources I can, so that nobody goes through life alone. In the description, I have links to all my different social medias. I have links to the mental health Discord communities for peer-to-peer support. I have linked down even below to AA and NA for anybody who is trying to get sober. Links to things on Amazon like fidget cubes, fidget spinners, things that I use when I am struggling with my anxiety that help calm me down some. Have a link down below to BetterHelp. I mean, it's trial and error to find out what works for you. And therapy does so much, and it's taking care of our brain up here. And who knows, you know, what works for me may not work for you, and what works for you may not work for me. But that's part of trial and error. I even have a link down below to Renewal Recovery. They have a dual diagnosis center for mental health and addiction I mean, take care of this. Find what works for you. Again, you're an amazing human being. Hit that like and subscribe button. Comment down below. I'd love to know your thoughts on this. And just know this, that together we got it, and we're not alone. You're a BAMF. You're a badass motherfucker. You've made it through 100% of your worst days to make it through 2 today, and you got this.